YouTube, how's it going? I am back with another 7-round NFL mock draft. This one is for the Buffalo Bills. And if you didn't already know, we're doing a fan voted mock draft. Link is always somewhere in the description. So click that, go vote. I had to go backwards a little bit because the Bills traded for the 12th pick. We expect them to go with a quarterback, so there's only a few quarterbacks to choose from there. So then we'll continue on with our normal pace. So the Bills kind of messed things up for us there, but we'll get through it. Hopefully there's no trades till the draft, so we can get through it pretty easily. But the Bills, I wasn't going to do any trades in these 7-round mocks, but I pretty much have to here because we assume that they're going to trade. They're going to have to. So this should be pretty fun. I've come up with a trade scenario, went through quite a few. Really worked hard on this because I was trying to, there's a trade value chart, trying to figure out the numbers there, trying to get something that makes sense to me. I don't expect this exact thing to happen, but I think it's very possible. But something that was interesting to me is the Eagles-Browns trade from just a few years ago for the Eagles to get Carson Wentz. You see the Eagles got the 2nd overall pick. The Browns get 8th overall pick. You can see here what they each got, and I kind of went off the trade value chart to see who got the better value. We obviously think the Eagles won the trade at this point, but at the time of the trade, you expect the team moving back to get more value, but pretty close, and that's what it came out to be. Some future picks here, so I kind of had to estimate, get a good guess on my own there. Thought I did a good job figuring it out. I thought the Browns got a value of 3,000 points with the draft using the draft table, and the Eagles somewhere around 2,700. So the Browns got the better value at the time, but pretty close there. So that kind of helped me with figuring out the Bills deal. I knew who I wanted to have the Bills trade with. They could trade with the Giants at 2. We can see them trade at 5 or 6. I'm looking at 5 with the Broncos, but the main one I'm looking at is the Colts at 3. So obviously the Bills would be moving up to 3, and where the Eagles move up 2, but picking 12 then would be the Colts. And here, let me pull out the trade scenario for you guys, make it a little more, a little less confusing. So I have the Bill. There's a couple ways you could have done this, but let me get into detail what happened here. Let me explain why. The Bills are going to receive the 3rd overall pick, and they're going to gain the Colts' 2nd round pick for next year. The Colts will get the 12th overall, the 22nd overall, so both Bills' 1st round picks. They'll also gain the Bills' 5th round pick and a 1st round for next year. So you may look at that and be like, the Bills are giving up 3 first rounders. That's a lot, but the 2019 is almost a swap. The Colts are giving them their 2nd, and the Bills will get their 1st. But going from 3 to 12 is a pretty big drop. The Browns went back from 2 to 8. The difference between 2 and 3 is bigger than you think. It starts to get pretty close once you get down in that mid to late round range. So between 8 and 12 is not that much of a difference compared from 2 to 3. That sounds hard to believe, but that's how it is. So I thought this made sense. Do I think this actually happens if they trade with the Colts? I think somehow the 2nd round picks that the Bills have may be involved. But for the sake of this mock draft, for the sake of the Bills fans for this video, I wanted them to keep more picks just so we can get an idea who they could be looking for, who could fit their team, what they may need. So I'd recommend them doing this if it's an option. The Colts could end up getting more here. But again, yeah, that's 3 first rounders. So that is a lot, but then the Bills are getting, I almost had the Bills getting the 3rd rounder for next year, but I switched the 2nd, but you got to remember that the Colts are going to have pretty good picks, and the Bills are kind of up in the air. So that 2nd round is a good value for next year, even though they're getting up the next year first. So I thought this made sense looking at the chart as well, in my head and at the chart. It made sense both ways. So the question is, who are the Bills going to get at quarterback? We know they're going to trade out for a quarterback. That's why I had to do a trade here. Unless they sit at 12 and get a Lamar Jackson, I'll be fine with that. I'm not really a huge fan of giving away a bunch of picks, so I'll be okay with that. But them trading up, and I expect it to be either the Giants at 2, the Colts at 3, the Broncos at 5. I think most likely we're going to be looking at the Colts at 3 and the Broncos at 5. Possibly the Jets, but maybe the Browns too. The Browns like to trade at 4, but I'm looking at the Colts and the Broncos mainly. 3 and 5 is where I'm mainly looking at. I thought it made sense that the Colts are maybe the #1 team that needs more picks, so I thought it made sense to do this. Pretty fun to do this. But again, which quarterback will the Bills get? Rosen is a guy that can fit their system. They seem to like him, their style of quarterback. Maybe they want to go towards, they wanted to go away from Tyrod. But the guy they seem to really like is Baker Mayfield. They already met with him twice. The pro day was today, so I imagine they met with him again. That's a lot for this time of year. 3 times, not really meeting with Darnold, not too much with Rosen. But again, Rosen we like to fit. Their GM was a part of the Panthers when the Panthers drafted Cam Newton. Who's getting Cam Newton comparisons? Josh Allen. Am I big on Josh Allen? No, but I'm not going to disagree with those comparisons. Is it a skill comparison? No. He's got the same body type. He likes to roll out, throw the ball. He's pretty good rolling out, throw the ball near the sideline. A lot of potential, so I can see the Cam Newton comparisons. He's not going to be as good as Cam Newton. So it's not a skill comparison. I understand the comparison. So I think it's got to be one of those 3 guys. I mean, if Darnold's there, a lot of teams like Darnold. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I would think it would be one of those 3 guys. It seems like they like Mayfield the most, but is that a smokescreen? I think at first I didn't think so. For a team to meet with somebody that many times, it has to mean something at this point. I think further down the road, you start getting the smokescreen out closer to the draft. At first I'm like, Mayfield's got to be their guy. But I think they want more of that pro-style guy, I think. So I think they'll really like Rosen or Allen. But, again, this is me playing GM in these 7-round mocks. So the quarterback I went with the 3rd overall pick is Baker Mayfield. I really like Baker Mayfield. He's really grown on me. Good leader. Like his attitude. It's confidence. I like confidence. It is key. He's really got all the tools. And people worried about Tyrod Taylor. Maybe he's not that far off from Tyrod Taylor. But I tell you what, right now, Baker Mayfield, not as a prospect, right now he probably has a better deep ball than Tyrod Taylor. I mean, some maybe disagree with that because Tyrod Taylor's already been in the NFL. Mayfield's got a pretty good deep ball for his style of play. It's very impressive. He can throw. He does need some work, but I like Baker Mayfield a lot. I would like for the Bills to take him if they traded up. It'll be just absolutely wild if they didn't have to trade up that far and they still landed a guy like Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson. I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson as well. But I do like Rosen too, but I'm going with Mayfield for the Bills. But we had them hold on to their 2nd-round picks. Again, they could get rid of those very easily. Depends on do they want to give up more future like that 1st-round pick, or they can keep their next year 1st-round pick instead of what I did and give up maybe their 2 2s and then another late-round pick along with that 5th round. So a couple scenarios there. I went with this one for the sake of the video. With 2nd-round pick, MALIK Jefferson, linebacker, Texas. They definitely need at least one more linebacker. I think if you get a guy like MALIK Jefferson's caliber, I think you'll be good. You come away with a draft pretty good at the position. He is a 1st-round talent. Didn't really do well in the meetings, I heard, but I'm guessing that's not what every single team he met with. But he could drop to the 2nd is basically my point. He's a tremendous value at this point, but it's very realistic. Bills would love to have him in there. On to the other 2nd round, Lorenzo Carter, edge rusher, Georgia. Another guy that is on the rise big time. Could even sneak in late 1st. Now, again, I am playing GM here. He was mainly a 3-4 outside linebacker, so you may ask me why. Are we going to play him at 4-3 D end? I would like that. I want him to go somewhere to try. Teams believe he can do it. They've been meeting. He's been pretty popular, especially at the Combine. They've been meeting it with teams. They've kind of been quizzing him, breaking down some film, breaking down their defense, seeing if he can do it. I believe he can do it. I think he can play on the line or he can play linebacker, either one. I think most likely he probably ends up on a 3-4 team, but again, I'm playing GM here. I'm giving Lorenzo Carter a shot at any type of edge rusher, any type of team. I like him a lot. Very athletic for his size, freak athlete, freak size. I mean, this guy can go late 1st and it wouldn't be a bad pick. So I'd love to have him in there. Need more pass rush for the Bills. They're not bad at pass rush right now at their current pass rush, but it's the most important thing in football, in my opinion. You need to get better at it. So we're going Lorenzo Carter, big-time riser out of Georgia. On to the 3rd round, Holton Hill, corner from Texas. I think they could use another corner for the future. Maybe the future looks like Tre'Davious White and Holton Hill here. Good size for Holton Hill. I think he could be a guy that sneaks into the 2nd round. Around this time last year, we started hearing about the longer corners. Teams really like them. I kind of liked a guy like Witherspoon all along, but Holton Hill reminds me of him a little bit. Maybe Isaiah Oliver, more like Witherspoon coming from that Colorado system. But Holton Hill, long guy, good pass deflection, had some interceptions too. So, I like him in the 3rd round if he's there. Good value. They can use another guy for the future. You can never have enough corners. I think, obviously, quarterback being the most position in football. Pass rush is super important, along with cornerback probably be next, because it's hard to find the good talent to go one-on-one with top receivers. And then, offensive line is very important too. But I'm not really a big fan of the offensive line in the draft, even though it looks good this year, but it's very risky. A lot of guys end up being busts, in my opinion. So we'll continue on here. Third round, DAESAN Hamilton, wide receiver, Penn State. I like Hamilton a lot. I mean, he should go earlier in this, but this is probably his range. The only thing is some drops, maybe inconsistency catching the ball. I'm not too worried about it, but just ask yourself this. What has been the number one problem with receivers struggling to transition to the NFL? There's only one answer here. I mean, there's other things that go along with it, but there's a number one answer, and that is route running, picking up the route running of the NFL. And this guy is a tremendous route runner, so maybe he's a safer choice. You go watch the film on this guy. People talk about Calvin Ridley, best route runner. I think Anthony Miller. I like Anthony Miller's route running a lot. Calvin Ridley's too. But DaeSean Hamilton may be the best route runner. And you look at Dante Pettis too. But DaeSean Hamilton is the best route runner in the draft, in my opinion. Josh Jackson struggled with him, top corner in the draft, just because of that route running. You can see him on plays that he doesn't even get the ball. You can notice it. So on the NFL level with the NFL quarterback, I think he's going to be something. You can see he loves the game. You see he wants it bad too. So I'm a big fan of DaeSean Hamilton. Should go earlier in this, but I think this is where he'll go. Bills could definitely use his talents. Fourth round, Wyatt Teller, offensive lineman from Virginia Tech. I like him at guard at the next level. I think the Bills could use him. Could possibly start right away. I like mid-round offensive linemen in the past, been working out. But if not, he will be a starter early on in his career, so I like him a lot. They're in the fourth round, so then with this trade, I only have them getting one more pick here. They did make a deal already with the Bengals that swap picks back here. So they would have a fifth. As of now, they have a fifth, but I got rid of it in that deal. Didn't want to get rid of too many things, including those seconds, but that could definitely happen. But the last pick is Zach Crabtree, offensive tackle, Oklahoma State. I think it could be a round 5 or 6 guy. Obviously, they need another tackle, but I think they'll be okay at finding their linemen. But, yeah, obviously it could end up being a bigger need depending on what their thoughts on the depth behind who they traded, Cordy Glenn. But overall, I like that trade, really for both teams because the Bengals needed an offensive lineman desperately. They still stay in the first round, even though it's a pretty big drop. But for the Bills, they unloaded cap. They're getting some defensive guys in there. Star Latule. I thought they needed a D tackle pretty badly, but they got him. They're talking to Tom Johnson, the Vikings D tackle as well. They re-signed Kyle Williams. Heading in the right direction. Obviously need that quarterback, but they got a plan. I don't think you should doubt them. But we'll see which guy they take. We'll see what kind of deal. Maybe the market is gone up. Maybe that what we call King's ransom has gone up even higher. It seems just like the paychecks. It seems like the value of the top picks, they go up as we go on. So they may give up more. We will see where they go to. But again, I'm looking out for picks 3 and 5, Colts and Broncos. But do not count out the Giants. Do not count out the Browns, and maybe the Jets there. But they still really need a legit number 1 quarterback. So I think they'll stay put. Maybe the Jets move up. If somehow a quarterback drops to the Bucks or Bears picks, 7 and 8, those teams would be they would probably be calling you to trade out of those picks because those are teams that need more picks. So that could work out. Another team I would look out for trading up, maybe the Packers. That came to me this morning. The Packers are a team with a lot of picks. They're picking a little bit there, and they're down the road after the Bills. In early mid-rounds, they can move up. For what player? That's the question. They need defense. They could use a star running back. So trade scenarios are fun. I'm going to have more of them closer to the draft. We're going to make a whole video. I did it last year, but I'm going to make a whole video on possible trade scenarios I think could or should happen. We're going to have plenty more draft coverage. Still got to finish these 7-round mocks. We got free agency frenzy, free agency news we're always breaking. We're always covering. We got to grade the big moves. We got all kinds of stuff to come out. Eventually going to break down all the draft prospects, more mock drafts as we get closer. So we always got you covered. Don't you worry. Please like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Goodbye.